What's cracking with the people? It's the mental ninja doing my fucking thing, not giving a fuck. What's cracking with the people? It's the mental ninja doing my fucking echo, thing. Right? Yeah. So yeah, I was on Really Vegan on his live yesterday. That shit was fire. And I was gonna say, bro, there's like I can't stand. I mean, I can stand it. It don't bother me, but it's like reflecting back on how I used to think when my religious belief systems like automatically wasn't. It was more important about other people adhering or believing in or accepting these belief systems outright, and I would use that to justify my reason for believing. And if I came up on people that didn't agree with me, then automatically they the enemy. Automatically they slow or they stupid or they uninformed, they led astray or they being deceived or being deceived, all that other shit. You know what I'm saying? And really, that shit kind of trash to me, really. The whole idea of my God is bigger than your God, big brick versus little brick. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna drop the link too. But the whole idea of like it's more important for other people to obey my beliefs than for me to obey my beliefs. You know what I'm saying? Which is like that's like trash, bro. What's the point in me believing something if me believing it by myself just ain't enough? If other people gotta believe in it too. You know what I'm saying? That means that's conformity, bro. If motherfuckers want to believe their own shit, they got the freedom too. Who am I to say that they can't believe this and that? And this the issue. You got a group of people who believe one thing, and when somebody else they meet somebody who believes differently from they do what they believe in, then they feel like they have to set themselves out as a challenge against the other person, and they use the other person in their group as a challenge to assert their own beliefs once again. Basically, it's like not enough that they believe it; they need to find other people to conform that must conform to their beliefs and stuff, or in order to make it real. You know what I'm saying? And when that happens, that's you get that tyranny and oppression. You know, you're gonna terrorize the people or use your position as as a get down or lay down kind of concept towards people that don't understand it or don't believe it or don't agree with it or never heard of it or whatever the case may be or have a different a position or opinion or belief. And then if they don't do that, then you're gonna press the fuck out of them. I.e., if we were in the like inquisitions, burning stakes and shit, cutting people up, murder, genocide, that just outright hate. That's where that shit comes from. It comes from a group of people not accepting the beliefs or standards of another group of people. And if they don't do it, then it's like, well, we're gonna kill you. And so most of those people only accept them just to survive, just to stay alive. So really, the job hasn't been done, but it doesn't matter to the people that want the other people to conform because all they want them to do is just conform. You know what I'm saying? They want to gain numbers and gain influence. It's all about that control and power, right? And so what happens is once a person like with the Christian people, what up, K Smith? What the Christian people do, or the Hebrew Israelites, or the Muslims and stuff like them. I'm talking about the enthusiastic Christian, Muslim, fucking Hebrew, whatever the fuck it is, the enthusiastic barbarians, because that's how they approach shit with barbarianism. Like they don't have a level of critical thinking. They accept the belief. They don't question the belief. They feel like if they accept the belief within their own ranks, they have questions, but they won't ask them. And then they see other peoples that have higher ranks or higher influence or levels in that faith. They'll see their behavior, and then they'll set out to go out to the world and look for people that don't know, are against, or have different beliefs and stuff, and try to become this, ethnocentric greater position than the other people, and all they have to back up is like reading from a book, like really, and they base all their logic on the book. They base all the logic on the conform accepted belief, which is like fucked up because like yesterday on that thing, homeboy, everybody was asking homeboy, I forget his name, Yak or whatever, a whole bunch of questions, and he just couldn't answer them. He just couldn't answer them. If there wasn't an answer in the book for him, like some real repetitive, regurgitated bullshit, then he just didn't answer him. But if you would be talking and talk about something that had a word, this is how funny it is, a word from his belief, then he gonna jump in as if you don't know what you're talking about because he thinks everything is coming from or surrounded by or an aspect of his belief. And then he gets back into the book and all this other shit. I mean, when people are out, when people, we have human beings walking around talking about, oh yeah, the book says that every man has wickedness in their heart, but I don't have wickedness in my heart, or I just don't practice it. Like, then the book isn't telling the truth. Simple. If every man has continual wickedness, and you say that you don't, then right now you're the one man that show that every man don't have it. But then you're like, oh, well, I have, I just don't practice it. But the shit said continual, so that means never ending. And then the one thing that they don't think is like maybe this is what they talking about is continual wickedness, the way you're approaching the situation, the way you're looking to hold your standard over everybody else. You know what I'm saying? The funny thing is these same people that have these same beliefs, they're against other concepts placing masks on their face. But that's what your belief wants to do too. It wants to put a mask on other people's face, a mask of belief. And if they don't do it, then they're gonna go to hell or whatever. Your God's gonna be waiting for them in the parking lot at Walmart to whoop their ass and shit, or you gonna rat them out or snitch on them, whatever, to your God and shit. But then you get mad when somebody else tells you to do the same thing. And that's the problem with conformity because it breeds nothing but slaves, mental slaves, emotional slaves, logical slaves. And they're not even logically thinking, illogical slaves. They don't got no premise. They're not even interested. They're more concerned on following the leader than actually thinking for themselves and asking, where's this leader taking us? Where's the person that's in front of me that's following the person in front of them, that's following the person in front of them, that's following the leader? Where are we all going? But then the thing is, don't ask questions because motherfuckers aren't afraid of being punished by God. They're afraid of being cast out of their own community, out their own faith. And that's where they get their source of identification from, their source of um, self awareness from. But without the faith, without the book, without the leader, you have no self awareness. I would say you don't have self awareness even with all that shit, because to be self aware is something that comes from inside. It doesn't come from outside. And if it does come from outside, it's in the reflection of what's in the inside. So it's the same thing either way you look at it. You know what I'm saying? And I see the same shit happening in with globe earth and flat earthers. You got flat earthers that think globe earthers are stupid, and globe earthers equally think flat earthers are stupid because they just want to accept each other's opinion. Rather than be like, okay, let's talk about this shit, man, and listen what the person has to say and add some shit, whether it goes with it or it's just another thought or that made me consider this or whatever. When you do that, if you don't say, okay, yeah, you're right, okay, yeah. And last yesterday on that panel, every time I was like, oh yeah, you're right, I got you, I got you, I got you, he would stop. And I was just using that to fuck so I can be able to talk because the nigga wouldn't let nobody else talk. You feel me? And that's what we get. We get a civilization of people who are not only are they not allowed to think for themselves, but if they were, they wouldn't know how to think for themselves. So if you have a religion, if you have a belief, like I'm a Thelemite, I believe in the book of the law, right? But that doesn't mean I can't believe in other books. Straight up, it doesn't mean I can't. I'm not. It's forbidden for me to investigate the Bible or the Quran or the Torah, the Talmud or the Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata or the Tanakh or the motherfucking Vulgate or the fucking Dead Sea Scrolls or the Tibetan or the Book of the Dead, the Necronomicon. I can investigate any book I want, but I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna look at that from the philosophy of Thelema, while still keeping an open mind. Because what I do, I find the same shit everywhere. There's a lot of most people, and I can understand because there's a time I couldn't do that. I guess I had to grow to a level or be confronted with some information. I had to say like, yeah, that shit don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? And as a globe earther when I was younger, or a person that believed the globe, I just fucking repeated what was told to me. It wasn't what up, Rashard? It wasn't no purpose or no position for me to have. There was no space in the whole system for me to be able to formulate a thought for myself, formulate a question for myself. Any question that we were allowed to ask was questions that they gave us to ask, which is fucked up, and they already had the answers too. You know what I'm saying? So it's a trap. It's a mind trap. You know what I'm saying? I see this shit literally it's not even just it's not about religion in a sense of a faith, but it's an actual mindset. It's a mindset that if I believe something and you don't believe it, then you're evil. And the other person that doesn't believe it has their own belief. And it's like, if I believe something and you don't believe it, then you're evil. And you like ask the third person says, why are you guys calling each other evil? Because you have differences of belief. And they'll both look at you and they'll want you to pick a side. And if you don't pick a side, they're gonna agree together. You evil. This shit's fucking it's funny. It's not even crazy. That shit funny because now I can see. And like my brother Leo said, once I threw out religion and shit, I became free. And yeah, it's not even just religion by itself, the word, because the word religion implies a certain idea of a church or Christian, basically Christianity. They like have somehow fucking cornered the market on what the idea of religion is. When religion, the root word, the etymology of it means to tie back or to bind to. Simple. And it could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. It all depends on how it's used. You know what I'm saying? So we got these faiths that are corporate, dogmatic, and superstitious, tyrannical, and oppressive structures. They're designed to create slaves. They're not designed to create the way they are used. They're not designed to faith as a group of people who have a certain belief in shit. It's designed to create conform slaves, to create automatons and robots. And I believe in my heart, I believe that the establishment or the elite or whatever you call it, the people that have a great amount of influence over the rest of the people in the world, economically, socially, demographically, and spiritually. I believe that these motherfuckers understand that shit. They understand that all you gotta do is make these people operate within the system that you create as if it's a religion. Because like honestly, we call me and my homies call the people that believe in COVID, we call them branch COVIDians because they believe in COVID the same way the Christians believe in Jesus. They believe so basically, if you don't believe in COVID, that means that you don't care about people's lives. That means that you're not gonna wear a mask. That means that you're not concerned with your loved ones. And then they go into the hypotheticals. Well, what if one of your loved ones dies from it or catches it? You know what I'm saying? It's like, what up, gang speed? You know, I got the link. I'm gonna drop the link again. Anybody wants to hop on? But it's like, what if one of your loved ones catch it or contract it? And it's like, all right, I hear you. But what if it doesn't exist? But they don't want to hear that. All they want to hear is what they want to hear. And they don't want to hear your opinion. They want to hear their opinion coming right out your fucking mouth. Instead of just saying it to themselves, they want to hear you say it. You know what I'm saying? And so dogmatically, we get the dogma from the institution, which in this case would be the media, the mass media, and the government, because the government actually mandates and moderates all media transmission. It's by the FCC. That is a government branch, and any government branch can be used and weaponized into a military form. You can attack the people with the media. You can move the people with the media, and you can inform the people with the media. But 9 times out of 10, the only information we're going to get from the media is the information that the government, the establishment, believes that we need to know in order to keep things together. You know what I'm saying? And that's where we get the hiccup. So people come at this shit and they sitting there like, all right, somebody believes in an invisible, like, look, somebody believes in an invisible man that lives in the sky is no different than somebody who believes in an invisible, itty bitty microscopic germ or circle with some little special coloring on it, an invisible CGI gift or picture, and it's able to cause effect and influence and shit. And so when the church brings the information out, they tell you what you need to do and what you don't need to do. And if you don't do what you need to do, then what's going to happen to you? And the shit is always the field goal post will be pushed back so far to basically the field goal post doesn't exist, but the people believe the field goal post exists because they keep talking about this field goal post that none of them have ever seen. You know what I'm saying? What up, Super Sense?
Yo, 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 peace, mental ninja. What's good with you, bro?
Just chilling. Bullshit. I just got off work and I was like, fuck, I'm gonna get on real quick for a little bit, whatever. See if anybody hops on and shit.
Yeah, you know them chains is tight on these folks these days. They don't understand it.
And the funny thing is too, like they think that once they get what they think that so the guy that the people that put the chains on them, right, will say, hey man, you got a chain right there. They be like, oh shit. But they don't know they got a chain over there and over there and over there and over there. The niggas in like some real fucked up situation, can't even realize it. And the worst part about it is the whole idea of conformity is slavery, is basically saying that, and this is the fucked up part. When you get a group of people to agree on something, that's conformity right there, right? Now, the bad thing where it happens is if one person decides like some things that they don't agree with, they will be enslaved to keep the idea going because the other people, they're so hell bent on keeping the idea that they're willing to hurt anybody in their area or anybody they find in order to comfort themselves with I've made the right decision. I've made the right choice. And in the end of the day, like what the old school religions, like in the 1500s and the thousands and shit, you know what I'm saying? We still have the same with the same shit's going on, but today it's called consumerism. And what the media does, like I don't know if you know, that you seen the new COVID came out.
Yeah, it done transform, evolve like a
Yeah,
Pokemon.
yeah, that motherfucker got Super Saiyan level 2 now, right? And
Man,
it's funny because they doing the same shit they do with iPhones, bro. They releasing a new iPhone and shit, and we don't know if it does anything different. It looks kind of different. They put some other apps that the other one didn't have on it, and we think it's a whole new thing. And so what we gonna do? Shit, we got to get it, but we gonna buy it. So like the funny thing is that new COVID came out on the 21st.
right,
Everybody
right,
waiting for the great download or the fucking cosmic shift or the end of the world and shit. They like we gonna release that the new COVID on the 21st and shit. And then within 12 hours in our state, Nevada, they're like, they have found COVID in North Nevada. Like, where, nigga? Like, you just drive down the side of the street, you see like COVID lay on the ground, nigga.
right. Yeah, I think that shit just crazy, man. And like you said, they just push out the new shit before people could even grasp the whole riddle in the old shit. You know what I'm saying? And it just I guess it just trains your brain to not even, process anything. You just and I guess that's like the same thing with food too, we're not even processing this stuff, but we conform to that idea that, do what they say, you know what I'm saying? Do what the next person next to you doing, you know what I'm saying? And I just be going crazy thinking about all the how it's impacting my life so close to home, given my mom, she so tied up into it, and man, it just it's real fucked up. But
Yeah, bro. And oh, go ahead.
no, I was just going, no, you go ahead. I was just gonna get back on that slavery, but go ahead, I'll jump back in.
Yeah, so the whole system is designed to create a civilization of people who they think they're thinking from themselves, but the information they're getting to use to think for is provided to them by the government. Like it's basically like niggas locked up in prison and they think they growing their own food and they doing their own shopping just because they order from a store list. But on the store list, now you only get the items that they say you can get. You know what I'm saying? You can only cook it the way they say you can cook it. Niggas ain't fucking cooking shit like order out, order pizza and shit. You know what I'm saying? So what they do, they think they're making the right decision. They think they're in total control of the situation when they're not. The only thing difference between a prison is like you know you in a prison. But in this one is a prison that you don't know you in. It makes it even better. You know what I'm saying? Because you can give them anything and they think, okay, well, I have a freedom of shopping and freedom of choice, but you have a limited amount of choices. Even if it's 1,000 choices, it's any choice but your own, but the one you want
Hmm.
to come up with.
Hmm. And I remember hearing Bro Sanchez say this, when they freed the slaves and made slaves free. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they freed us individually to do whatever you want, but they put us on the market to be slaves to other ideas, other things that we feel more comfortable being slaves to. You know what I'm saying? Like, whether it be basketball, you know what I'm saying? I know you like playing basketball. You know, you love playing basketball, then you gonna do that. And if you make it, you know what I'm saying, you still loving that shit, but you know, at the same time you're still a slave to the game. And I just feel like, you know, everybody think they free, but you know, really they slave to these ideas, they slave to these material things, they slave to the information, you know what I'm saying, to the programming that they've been programmed on. And like I was just thinking earlier, you know, like the most important thing in life really is growth. And like, you know, just like a tree, or you know, you water it and you grow. And I feel like don't nobody grow past nothing these days. You know what I'm saying? They still got these same dogmatic mindset, same, you know, ideas that was pushed onto them. Nobody think for themselves. So it's just, it really be tough, you know, just dealing with people these days, because it's like you really got to dumb yourself down. And that's something that I told myself I wasn't going to do going into this, well, they call it the new year, but you know, going forth through life after I just passed my birthday, because my birthday was actually on the 21st. You know what I'm saying? So I just, you know, that's something that I told myself going forward. Like I'm not gonna dumb myself down. Like I'm just gonna start speaking on the shit to the people around me. You know what I'm saying? Whether it hurt their feelings or not. Cause like you said, really I'm just enslaving myself to my own mind. You know what I'm saying? Not being able to express myself, not being able to truly breathe how I want to breathe.
Yeah, and then like the idea, like there's a good way we can look individually at slavery, like right. So let's say like slavery is being bound, right? And we're not. It doesn't have to mean that you're bound by your mind, or you're bound by your physical constraints or whatever, or bound to a certain room, or bound to a system and shit. But if we look at things like, all right, so I've been playing basketball with this one team on this in this league and shit. But I want to try another team. I want to play with some other players and shit, and see how they run and shit, and try to do something different. And I go to their team and shit, right? Now I'm basically enslaved in that sense in the system of the team. But what is my reasons? Like I'm free because I want to learn. Now I understand I have to bind myself to the process of learning and shit and the avenue to learn from. You know what I'm saying? So no matter where I go, even if it can appear in a format of slavery or conformity, if I'm able to keep my own wits, my own critical thinking, my own logic and shit, you know what I'm saying, then it technically is it the same kind of slavery of you're not allowed to think. You're not allowed to exist outside the fucking standards or parameters that we set for you. And like the whole thing, like with they unrolled the stimulus bill and the new COVID on the same day, right? And I'm like, well, what if the stimulus, what all this economical shit is the COVID? What if because the flu cases have been down, flu deaths have been down, but COVID deaths have been up, and it's like, all right, that shit really don't make sense. Like, how does COVID? And they say, well, it's because people have been doing on all the precautions of social distancing, washing their hands and shit, this and that and the other thing. I'm like, well, but how is COVID still around? If that's the case, shouldn't COVID numbers be down too? We done everything they said to do, and it's still around. And it began with 2 weeks. It was 14 days lockdown to curb the fucking flow or whatever. And then we went to 2 more weeks, and then it went from then until the end of the spring, and then the summer, and we still in it. And it's the same thing as indentured servitude. And they say in the Constitution, involuntary there is no we will not accept involuntary servitude, right? But that's the whole key. It's the word involuntary. If you volunteer, then you gonna get then you there. You know what I'm saying? They say like, look, we on if you want to practice this social distance thing, then let's do it. If you don't, then you don't have to. But we're gonna run the campaign like you have to. And what happens is your neighbors, your friends, your families, they're all like, hey, you're not doing your part, then you're against us. You're trying to kill us. You're like a weapon of mass destruction and shit. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, after they let that campaign run for a little bit, they actually fucking made the businesses do it. And they fucking said, look, you businesses, if you don't, and that was the whole thing about back in the late 90s and the early 2000s, all the mom and pop shops being bought up by Walmart and Target, these mega corporations. So eventually, when they were ready to do this, then they don't have to worry about mom and pops doing their own thing. The corporation's going to follow right in suit because who they together in this shit. You know what I'm saying? And what ends up happening is now we're in like we were in fucking war with Iraq and shit from like 2001, basically from like 1990 until the COVID, right? And I think that we're gonna stop that war game scenario, and we're gonna be in this fucking invisible virus scenario for like 10, 20 years and shit.
Yeah, that's deep. It's really like I feel like it's really just a war between ourselves, and I feel like the only way to break this is for people to just wake up to it. Like, but and it's fucked up because like majority of the people they don't trust the government. You know what I'm saying? But they still participate in these government guidelines, these government competitions, whether it's voting, you know, and it's pretty much like they volunteering for this shit. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say it's involuntary for majority of the people. I say they're volunteering because they want to feel safe. They need something to feel safe. You know what I'm saying? They're not able to preside over themselves and do it they on their own. So they looking for that protection or that authority. You know what I'm saying? And that's another um I guess thing that was brought from programming, you know what I'm saying? The authority, being in school, going to college, having a teacher, having a principal, you know what I'm saying? To going into the workforce, having a boss, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, I don't get it. Like, people don't want to hold their own weight, you know what I'm saying? Make their own decisions. They want to be able to blame somebody when shit go wrong. They want to be able to ask somebody, whether it be, Jesus, or, they want to be able to look up to somebody else. And I feel like that's, slavery in itself. Not being accountable for your own actions, not, wanting to take charge of your own life.
Yup, that's like this dude Noam Chomsky. He has this quote, and Noam Chomsky, I don't know if you heard of him, but he got this video. It's like a little, there's a documentary on YouTube. It's called Manufacturing Consent, and it's basically this nigga like basically tells you exactly what the fuck. And what up, Bronze? He's telling you exactly what's happening and shit. And it's not been like nothing new. This nigga did that shit like 20 years ago and shit or whatever, right? And he's wrote hella books, like a MIT law professor and all kind of shit, But like the way I look at it is in the controlled opposition, he's the guy that the establishment allows to speak the truth and shit. But you already know that no, it's not going to be promulgated and put in the mass media because if it's put in the mass media, then people start to do something about it, right? So he says you have to keep them pretty scared because if they're not adequately scared and afraid that some kind of demon is going to destroy them from inside or from without, then they may start to think and they said they're not competent enough to think. And that's basically how the uh the corporations look at the people and shit. Like I'm walking on a Walmart today, right? And I bought some, just some Christmas shopping. I spent like 80, $90. I did a self checkout line all the whole time walking around Walmart, and I know that motherfucking like I got my mask on, wearing all black, got my hoodie up, got my black hat and shit. And I'm just roaming around the store, nigga, just seeing, what I'm saying, seeing if I see anything I like that I might get from my family members and my girl or whatever, my kid. And I could see the same fucking undercover motherfucking little store guys following me around. And I was on my way about to say something, so I go to check out, pay for my shit. I'm walking out the store, and this is something I started doing like recently. I did it on Thanksgiving once. I'm gonna keep doing it every time. So I'm walking out the store. I got the big ass case of water under the shopping cart. Right, it cost $2.98. I didn't spend like $80. Right, the lady's like, she tried to stop me, so I need to see her receipt. And I just pointed. I was like, no, I already paid for everything. And she gave me this fucking look like, how dare you? And I just kept on walking, nigga. Like,
Right?
I swear to God, I am not gonna show them my receipt no more. And honestly, nigga, if they try to do something to me, nigga, I'm just gonna fucking sue their ass. Cause I got good lawyers in the OTO, nigga. I'm already black, and I don't have to show you this shit anyway. I didn't sign no paper saying that I'm gonna show you my receipt after I done got the receipt. After I done showed you my ID to buy the cigarettes and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Fuck them.
exactly. And it's a lot of things like that's an example, how we was miseducated or just not properly educated on the fact. And I do the same thing because I watch a lot of those First Amendment audits where people, they get the police a hard time because the police always giving us a hard time. So police trying to talk to you or whatever, You don't answer questions. That's all they be saying. I don't answer questions. If you ain't commit a crime, you don't have to present ID. So ever since I started watching that, I done went on a limb to do those type of things, not show my receipt. I see a police, you know what I'm saying, or I get pulled over. I done did this twice where I done got pulled over, and I didn't give them no ID. You know what I'm saying? I just asked to see a supervisor. You know what I'm saying?
Hell
And
yeah.
they really just let me go. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't want the trouble. You know what I'm saying? Because I all I did was have a light out. You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing. Like, people so scared to take these chances and just, like you said, conform to the slavery. You know what I'm saying? When driving, when we don't even need a driver's license, we don't need tags on our cars. You know what I'm saying? But we voluntarily go to the DMV and do these things, and then when we get pulled over, we voluntarily pass over our ID. That's the first thing they ask for is your license and registration. And when you get them that, you already signing a legal contract, you know what I'm saying, to be a part of whatever they subject you to.
Yeah, like soon as you give them your shit, nigga, you handed your shit to them. Man, they gonna do what they want with it and shit. They gonna take whatever information they want. But the thing is, like, this how fucked up it is, right? So that lady at the fucking at Walmart when I'm walking out, see, she don't know no different. Because the way she looked at me, like she should be like, shit, he got the right. You know what I'm saying? But since she signed that paper and she's getting paid to fucking to do the thing and shit, she think that like we all gotta fall in suit. Because if she doesn't get like basically it's like saying she's not doing her job, nigga. But and that's the thing, like if they stop me, I'm gonna be like, look, they try not like me. I'm like, man, I want to talk to the owner.
No,
And they gonna
facts.
be like, "What you mean the owner?" I want to talk to the nigga that own Walmart, nigga, because you ain't got no right to stop me, nigga. I'm a free man. This ain't no prison. You ain't no police. I ain't committed no crimes and shit. I don't work for Walmart. You know what I'm saying? But the people that are hired, they're there to do the job. So if they don't do the job, then they feel like they're not doing this shit right. And then the other people that don't want to do it, they're gonna show it to them because they feel like they have to. They don't have to.
And then also the person that's doing their job, they subject to lose their job over that shit. You know what I'm saying? The customer giving them a hard time. We doing what we believe in or we stand on. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like, it's their job. You know what I'm saying? And they could be subject to, getting fired, losing their job and shit like that. So sometimes it'd be hard for me to, give them too much of a hard time because I know, you know what I'm saying, they just trying to feed their family at the end of the day. But some of them, they just be having the attitude where you have to take it there. You know what I'm saying? And we have to stand up for our rights, like I said, because, you know, if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. Everybody know that quote.
For sure. And the thing is too, like I've been watching this TV show on Hulu called The Handmaidens Tale. That shit's so fucking. That shit had me yelling at my TV, nigga. That's how good that shit when you yelling at your TV. And it's about all these like this global like the fucking some terrorists kill all everybody on Capitol Hill, right? Bomb the fucking White House. So then right away, like in the same news flash, they're talking about, oh, now we're in martial law has been instituted in every major city. National Guard's been deployed and shit. And of course, in the movie, they're gonna do it all in one like 30-minute, 30-second to a minute, 2-minute clip, right? But in real life, that shit happened over a couple weeks. You know what I'm saying? They let people get used to the information, the stimulation they then unleashed into the fucking population, right? And what the whole thing is about these chicks, they're the only chicks that have like fertile eggs because like some kind of global catastrophe or us not treating the planet right, people aren't having babies. So they raping these bitches and shit, right? Got these bitches dressing like fucking nuns and shit. And if they don't follow, they got to repeat and go through the training camp and this indoctrination. And if they don't fucking do it, then they'll like take their eye or cut their hand off, anything to make them fall in line and shit. They see one person come back with their eye taken out or their fingers cut off, then everybody's like, shit, I don't want that to be me, and they gonna follow suit. And then what they do is like they put them in each in a family with a woman and a man that's like a like fucking rich or whatever, and they can't have babies, so they gotta hold these chicks down and do this like weird ass. It's like damn near like a for real like a Masonic type ritual and shit of knocking on the door. The lady holds the chick down and shit. And the chick just lay there, and the dude come and fuck the chick and don't look at her and shit. Don't look at the wife. It's just weird ass shit. And then then when the bitch gets pregnant, they gonna keep the baby and shit. You got this one chick, she always going against the grain, nigga. She played a part, but then she don't like it. And that's the whole gas. The whole setup is like what the establishment does is that they're using other people to conform us. The people that conform, they unleash them people to the streets, into the businesses, the neighborhoods. And it's gonna be your own family, your best friends, your teachers, your co-workers, everybody, right? All turn to Agent Smith, don't even know it, right? And when you want to think for yourself, they gonna be like, nah, you can't do that. And they're afraid that if you do, then you're gonna cause injury to them. And that's how the fuck form this slavery shit work.
Yup, that's that fear. You know what I'm saying? Ruling off fear. Shout out to Bronze King. I see him in the chat, and K Smith. But I see Bronze King, he got the fear mongering, but like you said, it's that fear. And that's, the stories that we heard about slavery, when we was so called real slaves. I mean, we still slaves to the game now, but back when we was really wearing chains, one fall out of line, the pregnant woman, they'll cut her baby out right there in front of all of them. You know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
that fear alone, will straighten people up. And I feel like that should rule out of, you know, all the programming that we've been through, even with the earth, you know what I'm saying? How we just a tiny speck floating through infinite space, you know, like people really, take that faith shit to heart. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we really don't know much. You know what I'm saying? All we know is really, like for me, all I know is, what resonate with me. You feel me? So I don't really deal with that faith shit. But, majority of the people, they deal with that faith shit. So I feel like it's easier to rule somebody with fear when, they live off, faith or beliefs. And majority of us is do that, and the word lie is right in the middle of believe. So I really never try and say that word no more. That's one word I try not to say no more. Believe or yeah, believe. Really, it's a couple words that I be trying to take out my vocab.
Hey, another thing too is like when they were talking about let's make America great again. I was thinking about that shit last night. And I was like, what has made America great that lasted longer than anything in American history other than America itself? And that's fucking slavery, bro. From the 1600s to like the mid to late 1800s, where they said we was free after the Civil War, but we really wasn't, and we still kind of technically aren't, right? And like what instead of slavery just for black people, like it's slavery for everybody. Everybody wearing a mask when they walk in the door and shit now. You know what I'm saying? Whether they want to or not. And I'm gonna say this: I would say 99% of the people don't want to wear masks unless you made it a good idea to. Like, and I believe this: the government or the establishment can get any people to do anything they want as long as they make that shit popular. If they make that shit popular, then people gonna go with the next fashion. Oh, mass slavery, that shit's cool. Well, let's do it. Let's sign me up right now. Give me the premium package.
All right, they come with benefits. Oh yeah, you telling me I get a check? But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Voluntary, man. I feel like it's voluntary for majority of
It
the
is.
people because I know people that from the hood or whatever who don't give a fuck about authority. You know what I'm saying? Or the police, or the government, but I still get grossed out by somebody not having a mask. Like this one chick I follow on Snapchat. She one of the most ghetto chicks I know. You know what I'm saying? Always cussing, fuck the police type shit. But she put on Snapchat just last night how nasty somebody is for being in the store without their mask on and just cussing and shit. And I'm like, that shit ignorant, you know what I'm saying? And it's really simple shit. Like a lot of the shit is so simple. Like flat earth to me is so simple. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it take a while because like I already knew, you know what I'm saying, that it is what it was. But even once I really understood it, that it's flat, it still took me a couple months to just break that programming of like, I'm tripping. I'm tripping. But it's really just that simple. Your water don't curb. You know what I'm saying? It's really that simple. You know what I'm saying? Viruses can't spread through the air. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that will have HIV. You know what I'm saying? And then it's just simple that when you look in the encyclopedia of diseases or whatever, and you look up coronavirus, it say a common cold. So when people try and argue is COVID real, I mean, yeah, it's real because common colds is real. You know what I'm saying? But the severity of what's going on, that shit is all false. And it shouldn't be that hard for people to see. You know what I'm saying? 99.8 recovery rate. You know what I'm saying? Homeless people, shit, it's even more homeless people now. You know what I'm saying? The homeless rate going up. It's not dropping because they not dropping dead. So it's just like, it really just sucks to see how many people just that brain dead that they can't put simple shit together. You know what I'm saying? For me.
Hey,
So,
and the fucked up thing is like, right, is are these people brain dead or have they ever even used that brain from the beginning? Because like when we think about like education and shit, and like the big thing about the flat Earth, bro, like the big, like I'll be saying the big thing about the flat Earth for me was like I realized, nigga, that I never fucking asked that question. Like, and I knew like I had something inside of me. Like, I always the one was, man, if the moon is so far away, then how come that shit big as fuck when it's on the horizon? Like, is it getting closer? And then the only definition, or the only explanation we have throughout the whole universal scientific community is that it's an optical illusion. Okay, well, if it's an optical illusion, that means it's done by my mind. My mind is telling me, oh, the moon is closer. I'm like, well, then how come that shit got pictures of it through a camera of the moon, big as fuck on the horizon, all over the world and shit? You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, well, if it's an optical illusion, then how come the stars ain't bigger? They should be obviously bigger. You can see the moon is considerably larger on the horizon. I mean, like literally like 7 to 1,000 times its size on the horizon than when it's up in the sky and shit. Why are the stars
yeah.
7 to 1,000 times bigger? And another thing is like, why are all the stars star shaped? Why isn't like some bigger and some really you could tell that, oh, that's a farther star because look how small it is, or that's a bigger star because like it should be that shit should be looking like fucking polka dots of different shapes and shit, different sizes all throughout the sky and shit. But we know it's a star, and even planets are like the same size as stars, and we know the moon and we know the motherfucking the uh the sun. And if you watch a plane when it's flying through the sky at night, you can see the little flash when it flashes that white light. That shit flash. It looked the same size as the star. Like what the fuck? And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's definitely the programming, you know. And I feel like that shit is fucked up because, when we was in school, they always taught us there's no such thing as a dumb question, but even then, you could see if you remember going back in class, wasn't nobody finna raise their hand and ask no question. You know what I'm saying? And now that we at the point of in our awakening where we start asking these questions, and once you ask the question, that's the only way to get the answer. You're not gonna get no answer if you're not looking for it. You know what I'm saying? Every once in a while you might just have a brain blast moment, but it was only because you was thinking. So we just got to get the people to start thinking, and that's something else that I be trying to do. Like, instead of telling somebody something, I try and ask them a series of questions so they can get that brain blast moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, like how much percent of the earth is water? You know what I'm saying? Everybody say majority, or most of them they'll say 70. Then I ask them, what is water? What do they call water? You know what I'm saying? Sea level. Then some of them get it, some of them still be oblivious. So I think it's just good about the fact that people should start wanting to ask these questions, like looking at the death rates from the past years. Like, if you look at the total death rates from the past 5 years, then you look at the death rates from 2020. It's nothing that warrants all this shit that's going on. They like exactly the same. It might be a couple thousand higher, but it's not hundreds of 10,000s, you know what I'm saying, more than it was last year. So just by seeing that, it should simply show you like it's some bullshit. But I pass the mic.
Hey,
Peace to the brothers that's coming on.
hey,
What's good?
peace, Huey, and peace, Leo. Got the
What's
big dogs.
what's good, my brother? How you doing? Much love, much respect. You know I fucks with you, the mental ninja. You know that.
Oh, for sure, my nigga. You one of
Yeah.
my favorite people on the panels, bro. Straight up, because you gonna speak your mind and like fuck it, nigga.
Yeah, I may be not the most educated, but I'm awoke to what's happening, and life is my education. You know what I mean? My experiences in life, and that's what I try to pass on to the brothers. Much love, much respect, everybody.
Hey, hey,
Huey.
hey, I'm gonna say, hey,
Yes,
peace,
Lord.
Huey. But real quick, hey, Leo, you asked the most serious question I think anybody's ever asked that I've heard last night. He said, "What does that shit mean to your heart?" That nigga didn't say shit.
Because I can express what my creator means to my heart. You know what I mean? I can't express what a Quran verse or a Bible verse, but I can speak to. He could have put it in his own words. That's all I was saying.
For sure. What's cracking with you, Huey?
Man, just chilling, bro. Just sitting here, enjoying the bill with y'all great brothers, man. Just honored to be up here with a great brother out here sharing knowledge, bro, and just trying to put the same thing that you do to me, bro. You feel what I'm saying? Giving the same energy, bro.
For sure, for sure. Hey, I wanted to show y'all something too. I think I showed you the other day, but look. So this is the Toth deck tarot deck, right? And that's number 19. The sun, COVID-19, coronavirus, the
Wow.
crown, the solar, the sun, the crown of the sun. This deck over 100 years old, damn near about 100 years old. Not the deck I got in my hand, but this actual making the deck. It's the one that Alistair Crowley had made and shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when they using this coronavirus shit, bro, they know what they doing, bro. It's like it's something about the sun. It's something about existence itself and the motion of the stars and how the system works together to itself and shit, right? So they're using these things that we like that we know like in our psychic connection and shit, and they using that shit to basically try to enslave us into their next little mode of operations.
Yes, Lord. Because they created a disturbance in the ether. You feel me? And they know that that signal was coming from the light that's being radiated through the sun. You feel what I'm saying? That's why they got it the way that they drew that. You feel what I'm saying? It's pulsating. You feel what I'm saying? It's like it's pushing it out, the information. And it's the information age, right? That they trying to really cloud out the real information from like you and me, where they trying to have us walking around with a muzzle on our mouth so we can't speak clearly and our atmosphere become cloudy because the way that they're doing our bodies, you know what I'm saying? And this is what they're trying to make it reflect off of. You feel what I'm saying? But we countering that with knowing that the they is just you and I. You feel what I'm saying? Ain't no they outside of you and me. You know what I mean? So shit, we controlling this shit at the end of the day. We knew what it was. We had to keep people somewhat awoke, but at the same time, you know how we be talking somewhat in mysterious ways or in parables where that shit falling over people's head and some people catch a little bit of that shit and a little bit of it. This is how the stories and all of this shit was implemented because this is what it is. This shit gonna fall deaf on dumb ears, and those who got the frequency to receive it gonna receive it, and they gonna apply it to their life. Period.
Yep. And another, another thing too is like this is how I be looking at it. Like I watched this little documentary about Nazi Germany and shit and their scientists and shit. Oh no no no! It was a book. It was like a thing that Manly Hall had. Manly P. Hall, right, the most famous, one of the most famous Masons and shit. Dude was a really brilliant dude. He's a good dude too, right? That nigga was like talking about how the reason the Nazis were kicking everybody asses in the war in the beginning is because they had all these motherfuckers studying the motions of the planets and shit. That's all that the Nazi was basically an esoteric army, like no bullshit. It was an occult esoteric army and shit, and all their fucking motivation, all their technology was based on esotericism and occult technology and occult beliefs and sciences and shit, right? And they were doing their attacks in coordination with the planets and the stars and shit. And then the American side, we thought that shit was stupid because we were all steam industry, electricity. We thought it was all fucking like that doohickey science shit. And we realized that when we got that code breaker and shit that broke the enigma, we realized that they were timing this shit and they were getting results after using their operations in coordination or with the sciences of the stars and the heavens and shit. And so I kind of feel like once we that's why we got all these scientists and shit. We didn't take none of their technology, bro. We didn't
Right.
take none of they fucking. We took all they scientists and shit. You know what I'm saying? And we brought them to ourselves. And then right after that, we got the whole NASA shit. We got all this other shit. And I believe that what with the Wi-Fi and shit and Tesla, I think what they realized that there's certain things happening within the existence of the solar system or the heavens from as above so below that they can tap into it and they can harness these energies and shit. At the same time, when these energies are more pervasive and shit throughout the universe and stuff, it's affecting us on in our plane, that they have to be able to control the information. Like they have to keep people distracted because that whole flat Earth thing and people starting to become awake and the whole idea of the conscious community, which we never had that shit before, bro. I never heard of a conscious community and shit. You know what I'm saying? Outside like radio podcasts and shit. You tune into a FM station, you might write a book and shit, or you got some like fucking little clubs you go to and shit, right? But we actually have a conscious community that's assembled all over the world through this YouTube and Google Meets and everything. And
That's
it's
right.
like they need to.
Motherfucking
It's
power.
like yeah, and it's like they need to fucking be able to control this shit, but they know that they can't control it all the way. So they fucking inject all kinds of extracurricular shit to stop the people from catching on like we caught on. Because the shit now, I swear to God, it does seem like with the informational download and these shifts and shit, it does seem to me directly that there is a greater influence of the availability to wisdom just by itself. Fuck the YouTube and all the other shit. You know what I'm saying? This shit's happening regardless without YouTube. But
Yep.
they're using these things to be able to launch their fucking narrative and shit and combat the fucking awakening.
Well, they're using these things to entrap the signal or to intercept the signal because we pushing the signal out. They knew the signal was coming from inside of us. You feel me? They knew that it was
Yeah.
inside, so they had to make a this, this is what you would call homeland security, where they can keep your eyes on the motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like where you can keep your eyes on so-called your enemies, so to say, but not know let your enemies know that they being watched. You feel what I'm saying? It's like this was the secret side op for them to get into the mind to stop the grassroots of the so-called Black Messiah from rising again, because we was all that Messiah, and they didn't want us to know. It's the reason why the scripture had you believing in one man and not in all men, which is you're supposed to believe in yourself and look outside yourself as everything is a reflection of you. So, but we ain't gonna look at that. We look at everything else as the enemy, and you know what I mean, because it's really within you. It's in you. So they made enemy a bad thing. So people don't like going within.
Damn, nigga.
And I
The
want
enemy.
Damn,
to
that was
say real
deep.
quick,
The enemy, nigga.
I ain't heard that one.
Damn.
Damn,
yeah,
you.
the enemy lied to us about
Enemy.
everything, and making billions off of NASA with our taxpayers' money, and people don't want to open up their mind and realize that they were lied to about everything from religion to these bullshit pagan holidays.
Hey, you know what? The thing too, like, and I like the enemy, bro. That shit fire as a motherfucker. Niggas is really afraid. For myself, bro, I was afraid of the enemy. That was the enemy, the enemy. You know what I'm saying? But like, with these holidays and shit, universally celebrated holidays has been so massive over the past 80, 90 years due to like marketing and Coca-Cola and shopping and consumerism and shit, right? But at the same time, at all these holidays, when they were done using the ancient sense, they were all about the celestial happenings, and they were used as days that they were like using those holidays, these celebrations, that they were like tapping in to a celestial existence that is like the in with the within and the out and the without, right? But today is like while we're fucking shopping and doing all this shit for Christmas, it's like that's how I see what they did. They took the celestial science and the science of itself and turn it to a marketing scheme. And what it is like with the NASA shit is they know
Fire facts.
that that they know that people what's cracking greedy, and they know that people they want to be able to explore. They want to be able to consider the mysteries and the impossible and the esoteric and the occult. Because that's by human nature, the explorer, the traveler, and shit. So what they done? they set up this fucking bullshit hologram shit to keep us entertained, to actually let us think that, man, we're paying into space exploration, bro. Not even thinking that the Hubble telescope, the fucking Galileo satellite, whatever, the Hubble telescope that's been out there like near Pluto, like that shit was launched like 60 years ago, 50 years ago, and is in still perfect working order. Now sending Wi-Fi fucking HD 1080p fucking transmissions and shit, and it don't need to be repaired. But my iPhone, that is way more advanced than that, got to be updated and shit every 30 days and shit wirelessly. You feel me?
And it's dropping signal when you're driving down the back streets.
Yeah, I definitely
So
feel
much
you,
for the satellite. Yeah, I think that damn, that enemy shit, that shit's hard as fuck, nigga. The enemy is the enemy, the inner me. You know what I'm saying? It's like that shit makes sense. Like the whole, like when K Smith was talking about like the flat Earth shit, like water doesn't curve. It's like that was like one of the biggest things for me. I was like, oh, and I knew that. That was the worst part, nigga. It's like, nigga, you knew that though. He's like, yeah, but why don't you put two and two together? And it's like, I don't know. And I was like, I know now is because you were so heavily invested. You weren't even fucking looking to do that shit. You already thought you knew it. And you're like, leave it alone. Just keep going.
Hey, man, see, look, man, I be thinking about shit, right? Right? We got to start thinking about shit. Because when a motherfucker say water don't curve, right? A wave, when it goes up in the air and it's moving forward, it makes it look like a curve. But that's way I might be looking at it that way, which is still flat in your face, right? Check this out. If you got a faucet, right? You know how your faucet go up and it got a hook at the top of it and then it comes down. Did the water go up and curve and come back down? If you got a water hose and you turn the water on and you bend the fucking water hose as the water is traveling through it just enough where it don't have a whole crinkle in it where it stops the water from flowing, ain't the water bending? I mean, if I go to a fucking to Nile River or to a waterfall where the water is flowing and it curves and falls all the way down, did it not bend?
Hey, that's facts. But what did you say in
True.
all those examples? You said flow.
Flow?
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, I said flow.
yeah. So
The flow.
that's where you gotta be specific
I know
too.
this.
And I get
That's
what you're
my point.
saying. So
That's
when
my
we do
point.
say water
That's my
don't
point. So
curve,
when
you know, we
motherfuckers
gotta.
say this, that's why I want to say that. So when the motherfuckers say that it's flat in your face, but it's flat and it's all around you. Because everywhere you look, it's around. The word ground even has round in it. So how you gonna get around that?
Hey, you know, another thing too is like water takes the shape of whatever it's enclosed in, right? But if there's any gap between the enclosure and the top and where the water at the top, whatever you want to call it, is going to be level. It's going to all equal itself out, and there's going to be a balance at the top. So if you got like a water bottle and you fill it completely, so we're like, there's literally no fucking space for anything else. It's all water. You can't even have a fucking air bubble in that bitch. The water is going to be the exact shape of the fucking of the water bottle. Now, if the water bottle has straight lines and curves and shit, the water on the inside is going to curve to the shape of the bottle and shit. But when we're talking like the Earth,
Right.
was that?
No,
But
it's
when we talk about
container. That's what I'm. Yeah, it's gonna take the shape of the container, like a glass or a fucking jug of milk, whatever. You feel what I'm saying? It's gonna take that shape of that milk, so that water
yeah,
shape.
and water will take the shape of the force as well. Because if the force, like let's say like density, because things rise and fall to density, not gravity and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because if gravity was really that strong of a force, then water would be the shape of gravity. Then gravity doesn't have no shape. So even if for water to be level on the top shows that gravity also would have to be level. You know what I'm saying? And then it would stop. Gravity wouldn't let fucking waves happen or even ripples happen because unless gravity and water are the same fucking thing, like basically like, after you leave the water, it's another form of water that it's like it operates the same as water and shit. And it's like the dividing line and shit. Either way, bro, like the earth is not the water doesn't stick to the outside of the bottle. And if it does, it accumulates itself to a droplet and it's going to be in motion to find its level. And either for the slightest bit of motion or the slightest bit of fucking what's the other word? Um uh that's a friction is gonna send it to find its level and shit, which would be the lowest point.
Yep. So like, hey, look. So if the friction in the lowest point, just like you were saying, all of those be coming ended up all boils down to just right boiling down, right? Even when water boils in a pot, right? So like it steams up and get hot. Freezing water, it might swell up and freeze, but it might swell, right? So ice is an ice. What if the earth was like an ice cube? What if the earth was like an ice cube? Would it be considered something round or like a box or something and we was on the inside of the cube? Like, right?
So you say if the Earth was an ice cube, would it still be considered round?
Yeah.
Or I mean, like technically, the cube is a shape that's based off points of a circle.
Facts.
That's what gives the cube its purpose. So then, like technically, everything's round. Like, look, so I was listening last night. So every night, I
Facts.
might put on. Was that?
No, I said facts. That's facts right there.
Hey, let me say something to piggyback that before you go mental. When you say round, because I always thought of it like, if I'm standing here on the ground and I do a 360, that's around. I just turned around. So any surface, if I'm standing in a square room and I do a circle, that's round. So, but go ahead.
Yeah, and in the points within the circles where we get our geometric shapes. Because the circle, the sphere of the circle, the 360 is basically infinite because it puts itself into a state of infinity once it meets completion. But at the same time, once it begins a curved line, it's already in its completion because it's curving back to itself. You know what I'm saying? But so like I was listening to like every night before I go to bed, I'll fucking like put like a little 45 minute, like it might be Alan Watts, it might be an audio book that I'm going through and shit that I don't have physically in my house. And I did the Alistair Crowley. It's called the Book of Thoth, and it's all about the celestial and shit. And he was talking about the shape and nature of the earth and shit. And he said something because he does talk about like science and stuff, and that the Earth, we can't prove that it's a ball. We can't prove that the sun is the center or the moon is the center. All we just know is that it's the most comfortable, it's the easiest to accept. You know what I'm saying? And it's without doing more considerations, the sun in the center and shit. You know what I'm saying? But he said that if the math is always going to support the finding. So if you put the moon in the center, nobody could question that because the math will support it. But you still have those subtle inconsistencies and stuff. Like if the moon was at the center, then it would make it really difficult for um, seafarers to travel based on the stars and shit. So really, the geocentric model is probably the most logical model because it's universal, even as far as traveling. You can pinpoint travel to any destination on the Earth using the flat Earth model and shit, with the stars orbiting in a circular motion around it and shit. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, he said that the solar system is a wheel, and that's the funny thing. Is like, okay, the Earth is a ball, the solar system is flat as a flat wheel, and so is the actual universe that we live in. The Milky Way universe is a fucking big spiraling flat wheel. But if you told somebody, hey, no, the universe is a ball, they'd be like, no, it's not. The Earth is a ball. Like, why not?
Exactly. And it's those questions like that too, because even when they say, space is infinite, and then they be like, well, where does the earth end if it's flat? Why do it have to end? If you gave space an infinite, existence, then why can't the flat earth do the same thing? But back to what you were saying about the moon being the center, I feel like they use the sun because the sun is a constant. The sun always shines the same brightness all the time, as opposed to the moon, which have its phases and stuff.
Hey, another thing too, like the idea of things being spherical, like an orb, right? Is like the simplest form, and the orb only happens in the three-dimensional realm. So if the orb had to go through the second dimension and the first dimension, then really it is a flat circle, is a completion circle, and it's not even flat. It doesn't have a width, it has a depth or none. It's like a complete ring, a circle, right? But once that circle completes itself, it can cycle itself into the second dimension, which should be the circle itself on completion. And then for it to become a third dimension, that means that all points of the circle have to do the same thing and up and out in another direction and shit, opposed from the circle. So what you have is even a sphere is almost an infinite series of flat circles spinning around each other. Does that make sense? Or spinning in whatever.
Yeah. Like the solar system. You know how we all orbit in the sun in these circles.
And that's the biggest thing too. Like when we get like niggas like Didex and shit, you know what I'm saying? And not bronze, but fucking my bad bronze, but fucking King Killer Rod. Like those niggas, they only come here because like this is the only place they feel like they can be the fucking masters of the information and shit. Like I bet you any amount of money, if we were all like globe earthers, them niggas be on the bottom of the fucking bucket and shit, nigga with their wisdom and shit. You know what I'm saying? When they come over here, they think they bring us new information that we never thought of and shit, just repeating this shit. You know what I'm saying? So basically, they're not giving themselves um space in their mind to learn. They're like, okay, I'm gonna use what I think they don't know against them. It's like, nigga, we all know what you're talking about, but we start thinking from a different perspective, and they just can't understand that. They can't see that shit.
That's because they on that slavery shit. You feel me? And that can bring it back to the topic, title of the video. They can't see it because, they've been programmed to not see it, to look past it. You know what I'm saying? To not even question it, the nature of the reality. So that just tied back into that slavery, that programming. But I want to ask Huey P a question though, because I know you deal with that spelling, and I be trying to break these spells with the words I be saying, and I'm already knowing, bless, to say bless you, or you know what I'm saying, blessings, that's be less. So I've been trying to break that. So I want to ask you, what's something that I could say to somebody, you know what I'm saying, like if they was to sneeze, or if something was to happen to me, as opposed to saying, oh, it's blessings. You know what I'm saying? What's a good word that I could use?
Oh, that's a good one. Cause blessing, I be trying to get away from that too. You feel what I'm saying? But then I found, even like when I was telling you, like when you see believe, right? Then you have to start seeing what how can you figure it out a way to make it good, right? Because naturally people gonna say good morning to you by naturally, right? And you gonna have to switch it around. But then at the same time, you can't stop them from saying it to you. So you got to be able to take that and change it to you for something for good, right? So learning that, I was like, damn, blessing, right? How can I turn around blessed for something good, knowing that I didn't want to be less? I wanted to try to be more of anything, right? So I wanted to be all of everything. But then I realized that the L was Elias or Elohim. So if I had to be the L, why not be the L and be it? You know what I'm saying? Unless they didn't see it. So I can say blessed, or I can say gratitude. I can say you're welcome. You can say anything to them. Good light. I mean, good job. You know what I mean? And just because you're throwing them off. You know what I'm saying? You can tell them when they sneeze, you can say high chew. You know what I'm saying? Or high shoe. High shoe. And they're gonna be like, well, what is high shoe? I'm saying high, you are high. I was just telling you, you just lift your head up and close your nose, you know what I mean? Without telling them bless. But then you can tell them that I wanted to tell you bless you, but I ain't want to make you less of you are because I look at you like everything. And they will be like, well, damn, bro, that's too deep for me, right? So it's like when motherfuckers say welcome to me or bless them or good morning, I say great rising, high heaven, heaven high. They say blame say high to. I say man, just be more. You know what I mean? They sneeze. I say man, be more. You know what I mean? And then they might not want to be a more. They might want to be a. They be like man, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. Oh, man, shit, man, be a brew. You know what I mean? I was just saying you're brewing. They were like, why didn't you
Mm.
just say bless you? I didn't want you to be less. You know what I mean? And you can just say whatever, bro. It's like words is
Or be
words at
you.
the end of the day. Be you. Yep. You can say be you. Or you can say P you. Like that stinks. Or you can just say, cover it up, cover it up. You know what I mean? You can say all kind of shit right nowadays in these days of time. You can say COVID, COVID, right? And they gonna
Right.
cover themselves up.
Yeah.
So I like to be that one who's going to throw off the shit. Like, why did he just say that? That wasn't to say that right there. Like I was out with my brother and them the other day, and a young lady, right? Because all I seen my brother and them, they was sitting around petting on this young chick. They was sitting around like, in my eyes, I seen them drooling like. She walking past. I'm like, man, young lady, come here. Can we get a couple of drinks? Let me get a cup of water. Everybody looked at me like, water? I'm like, yeah, well, let make it a Sprite or something. Give me. They're like, man, you ordered us all drinks. I said, yeah, get all of them Coronas. Let me get a water, and then when you get done, you look like you had a long day at work. Come over here, and let me rub your feet. They looked at me and said, what? You gonna rub her feet? You don't know her. It's like, I'm like, man, but y'all, she fine. They're like, yeah, she is fine. They're gonna see if she gonna come back, right? What she do? Came back with the drinks and came back over there and put her foot on my lap. It was like, man, I sure can. I was like, man, you got some really pretty feet, and you got a golden skin tone. You look like you owe somebody something, or you was old. She said, well, why do you think like you do? I said, I'm just me. She said, well, why do you say it like that? I said, I just don't know what else to say. She said, well, damn, can I call you? I said, hear me, Lord. Hear me, right? Some motherfuckers was looking at me like, bro, they couldn't believe it. But nowadays, they so used to texting, they don't know about real game. All I was doing was shit in the shit. I told her I wanted to finger your skin. And she let me in. She let me rub her toes. So in her mind, we was having sex right in front of everybody, and they didn't know. They couldn't even believe we didn't know each other, right?
Hey, that's the dope thing too. Like how I met my girl, right? Is I already met her like once in a meeting and shit, and my boy was like, "Man, she on your level," and I was like, "Okay, for sure." I heard her talk real quick. I was like, "Okay, she got some." I like the way she says stuff, right? I seen her on Facebook and I friend requested her and shit, right? And she had typed something. She had made a post about Mount Shasta, and I had just been studying Mount Shasta, so I like dropped a bunch of little, Lemurians and Telos and all that shit, and she kind of liked it or whatever. And I messaged her and shit. I was like, "We're learning about Mount Shasta," and she like told me about her shit, and I was like, "Man, I seen you last night." And she's like, "Where?" I'm in Pennsylvania. I was like, "In the sky." She's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "You was shining with all your glory and shit." And she's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "You're the moon, aren't you? My other half, my counterpart." Boom, locked in.
Off the muscle, right? And the crazy thing about it is, right? I heard you say this before. You got a Caucasian young lady, right? Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And and it wasn't nothing about that. It wasn't about the fact that she was. It was the fact that she was connected on your intellectual capability, and she heard what you were saying. More than anything else, y'all had a fucking spiritual connection, literally. And
Yep. Like love don't got no color.
facts, bro. Facts. Love do not have no fucking color, bro. But when you recognize that tone, it her skin tone was saying the tone that your voice, that your vibration was. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all tone was the same tone. It wasn't about the skin. It was just the tone that was coming from within. And that tone is what rings. Because you know how check this out, a school bell. You know how they got a red bell, or you can have an alarm clock. It can be look different. A bell can look different, but it's still gonna ring. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, bro, that shit is a powerful thing when you can find that other side of you, bro. No matter what it is, period, bro.
Yeah,
Literally.
that's that conforming, that slavery too, man. Is like if a man thinks he has to get a girlfriend or a partner that's in the reflection of some society's fucking idea of how it should look, then like how are you gonna get what you want to get that's for you? You didn't get what society thinks you should get. That's fucked up.
Lord. That is so fucked up, bro. If you gonna let society uh uh depict the picture or depict how you supposed to be happy, what you said, oh man, if you ain't got this kind of car, you ain't got a car. You don't have a car. It's like, bitch, I got a car. I'm like, man, it's like, man, you gotta know, you gotta accept yourself because they gonna make. Just imagine if we had to look like, if everybody had to look like LeBron James or what you would call, say, a super bodybuilder or something. Everybody would have low self esteem. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yep.
man, what the fuck going on? It's like, shit. If everybody had, if all women had to be 135 pounds, soaking wet, like, what the fuck, man? It's like, we might as well make love to a sheep.
Yeah, if if every female looked the same and shit, you wouldn't have that feeling like, man, I got something special and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everybody got the same looking car and shit. There's no diversity and shit. There's nothing that individual stand out from the rest of them and shit.
Same as good and bad, right? If we didn't have a bad side, we wouldn't have sort of nothing to show us how we had a good day or we had an up or a down day, and didn't necessarily have to be bad, but it was just like a up or a down day. You know what I'm saying? However that went, it was just up or down in your feelings. It's like shit,
Yeah, ain't
man.
no comparison. That's like homeboy from last night, the dude Yacht. Like that nigga didn't realize that, you know what I'm saying, he was so locked in and so calcified by his own beliefs and shit, man, that he didn't realize that he was like using us to validate it. If he can find somebody that doesn't believe in him, then like, yep, see, here it is. This is what I've been waiting for, and I'm gonna fucking school them on this shit. You know what I'm saying? But then at the same time, we asked him questions and shit, and like every question we asked him, he had like this one, and I guarantee, I don't even know, really, I can't say no, but it felt like to me, it's like somebody told him that it's philosophy. If it's not agreement with the book, it's philosophy and shit. And that's why I fucking flipped on him and said, I read that nigga the definition of philosophy and asked him questions as I'm reading it. And he's like, yup, 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 yup. I'm like, bro, you know that you just agreed to the definition of philosophy, exactly that's exactly what you're doing. And he's like, nah, but I'm like, when now it's nah, but you know what I'm saying? But if you see everybody to be somebody who's attacking your fucking religion, and you have to go find these people, who's really on the offensive?
Yep, yep. You are on the fence.
And look, and that's like what like niggas like Didek and Killer King and shit. I,
And
I
hey,
firmly
I thought he sounded like Diadeck though. He sounded
he
like
sounded like a he sounded like Didek and Killer King together because he would talk like Didek, and then he would like kind of like use that, oh idiot, blah blah blah. I'm like, damn, nigga, you got to call me a name now because I don't agree with you and shit.
yep.
Like like you offended your damn self. You know what I'm saying? Now you're mad at me for your thoughts. Like I didn't think that shit for you. You know what I'm saying? But that's how it goes and shit. People are so used to having their mind opened up and somebody else pouring dog shit into it, and them niggas think they got fucking the best fucking purple Kool-Aid ever existed.
Yep. And then motherfuckers like us come through in that bitch and just goddamn not even shitting on it. Can it be agreeing with them and just saying it in a whole nother way, and they won't even be able to see it in front of their face, bro. It should be weird. You told the
And the
man,
whole
several times, bro. I'm not going against you. I'm just trying to let you see it from my point of way, and I see it your way, and I'm agreeing with you on your way. But just look at this way too, so you can see it this way and see if you can agree with it on this way. I can agree with you on that way, but I don't have to agree all the way because you saying it. That's the way you seen it. I seen it from this way, and I seen the accident from the backside while you was watching from the other side. So I seen it different. I didn't see that part of the car get hit.
Hey, it's the whole idea. Like my sponsor be doing that shit to me. He was like, I'll tell him something. He'll say shit right back to me. I'm like, nah, nigga, not like that. He like, I said what you said. The nigga was talking about the fucking burning mountain. I was like, so these people were standing at the top of at the bottom of a volcano, and they heard a voice coming out the fire and shit. He's like, two people, you can't stand at the bottom of a volcano. Well, if you can't stand at the bottom of a volcano, when it's erupting, I can see that being a possibility. But how the fuck can you hear voices out the volcano then, nigga?
You asked was the volcano talking?
Yeah, that nigga got mad and shit. He totally deflected. It was like that's normal. And two people and a person standing at the bottom of a volcano is not normal. I'm like,
Oh shit, boy. That shit be serious, boy. They be serious, boy. That shit is like, whoa. Man, that shit be like, God damn, bro. That shit is it's almost scary though. For real though. It be kind of scary. It be like, damn, bro. Is this shit really like that shit is a powerful fucking spell, bro. And look, just think about this, bro. The Bible wasn't even taught in the school, bro.
yeah.
The Bible wasn't even taught in the school, bro. So niggas got indoctrinated outside of the school, bro.
And that's how you set it up, bro. Like when we would be in school, right? We're in school for we gotta get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, get ready. While we getting ready, our parents getting ready for work, right? And then we go on the school bus, we go to school, we at school for 8 hours. We spend like 8 hours with the school. They really are parents and shit. And then we come home with homework.
Job
You know what I'm
system.
saying?
For the
Yeah,
system. Job system.
and and then like we got like homework. We got to do the homework. It's gonna be like an hour and a half. We got let's say like you in middle school, you got 6 or 7 or 8 classes, right? So you got homework from damn near every class except for one of them might be P. So you might have like 6, 7 classes of homework. And let's say each homework is gonna take like 30, 40 minutes and shit. So that's another like 4 hours and shit, right? And then your parents get home at like 5 or 7. They gotta cook food, put the food on your plate, and you got to be in bed at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, so you be at school the next day and shit. Otherwise, the parents get penalized. So really, how much time are you spending with your family and shit? You know what I'm saying? They got the in school indoctrination, they got the after school indoctrination, and that's the homework, and then they got the TV, the cartoons. We think that we getting some fucking free time. We're like being plugged right back in. You know what I'm saying? And then today, like before, we used to go outside and play games and shit, TV
Yeah.
tag, hide and go seek, building forts and shit, going on little missions in the forest and shit, or wherever and shit, run the neighborhood, ride bikes, playing basketball. But then
Nigga, nah.
today, they don't. They whole interaction is like online gaming and shit. So what they end up doing is they stay plugged into some kind of fucking entertainment or some kind of what's that shit what's the intention? Their intention is always going to something except for thinking for themselves, always being on receiving stimulus from an outside perspective.
Yep. That's crazy. That's so fucking true, bro. That is so fucking true, bro. And
So it's
it's
like,
because
man,
we was coming up, we had to be creative. We never lost that creative edge because we used to had to be creative with our time. We used to have to think of shit to do. You know what I mean? That's like the shit before we started going to school. We was running around experiencing everything. And like that's why I always try to take people back. Where they be like, man, this shit is like elementary. I be trying to take them back to preschool. Preschool is the best shit that was ever happened. It was the school that was prepared for us before we had to go into school. The shit that we had already knew, and we was able to go just do it all and just show our artistic ability. And then they took us away from being that way, and they start putting us in different classes, and different classes became different class groups. You know what I mean? Like literally, man, the classes made us in different class groups. You didn't know what the other class was being taught on the other side of the walls. You feel what I'm saying? You ever been in school, right? And you heard the kids next door party, and you wonder why you wasn't able to do the shit. It seemed like you was always in the detention class. Like me, like I always was in the fucking detention class. Like nigga, in school, out school, suspension. Nigga, I had a whole fucking bro. I ain't lying, bro. Check this out, hey, middle nigga. I was suspended three. I was suspended 30 days, 6 months, or 3 months at a time, bro. Can you imagine a kid getting suspended for 3 months, come to school for 2 days, and get suspended again for 6 months?
yeah, that shit. That's
I can't even go to the
Hey,
alternative schools, bro. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, bro. I can't go to no Fulton County schools. Fulton County is one of the biggest counties in Georgia, in Atlanta. I can't go to no Fulton County schools. I can go to no Clayton County schools, and they wouldn't let me in no alternative schools.
hey, that's crazy because like, what's the purpose of suspending a kid from school if that kid is not a threat to the physical well-being of the other children? Most times people get suspended from school for like fighting and shit, right? But the other time people get suspended from school is for behavior, like acting out, talking back, whatever and shit, being a disruption to the actual system and shit. You know what I'm saying? They want to be a complete system where they have total control over it and stuff. And the teachers, they think that they went to school to learn to teach kids, like they're doing a public service on teaching the kids. It's like, nah. And I remember at preschool, element, and middle, and first grade, and pre-K and shit, right? And they didn't teach us to find out which block went to the right score, the spot, whatever. They showed us this spot goes, this block go in that spot, this block go in that spot, this block go in that spot, and then they said this knowledge is goes into this spot, this knowledge goes in that spot. And what they did is like they turned the knowledge they were teaching us into the blocks. And what we do, when we put the square spot block in the circle spot, it don't go through with the information they teaching us. Is teaching us that the square block is going to go in the circle spot, even though we don't have no proof, and it becomes all fallacious, and they basically teaching the sophistry.
That shit serious, bro. That shit crazy, bro.
And like even you can look at, I mean, honestly, of a country, if a people will send their kids to a place where they don't know the teachers, they don't know what the teachers do at home, nothing. They're not friends or nothing. Like by the name teacher, they're supposed to submit their children to the care of these people. They go to one fucking open house the first day of school, and they get a couple little, packets from the teacher of what they're gonna be covering and shit. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna be anything outside of the curriculum they're allowed to teach and shit. You know what I'm saying? They got to go off. My mom works for the school district. She's like high up in the school district in Nevada, right, in Clark County. And and if you would send your kid to a school and be educated by people who aren't you, and be raised and taught by people who aren't you, you'll send your kids to war too.
Yeah,
And if you'll send your kids to war, then you'll send your kids to motherfucking death. You'll tell them to do this, that, the other thing, and we don't care if it's right or wrong. It's just if everybody else is doing it.
yeah. And bro, when I was that's what fought me so much, bro, to doing this shit to where I am, bro. Cause I've been fighting that shit with my wife and shit the whole time I had youngest, bro. So I had to always had the effect where I had to teach them extra on my shit. You see how I had my boy on the channel one time. He was telling them that shit, this all I know. I don't know nothing else but it. And the way that he talk about spells. I don't know nothing else but A was AYE and BE. They don't know nothing else but this shit that I tell y'all. You feel what I'm saying? They don't know nothing else. I had to be extra goddamn serious on the way that I taught them. You feel what I'm saying? And before they even went to the motherfucking school system, because I already knew, I was like, it ain't gonna be me. It's gonna be, you know what I mean? You know who? You know what I mean? Like, so, it was gonna always be a fight between me and Mom Dukes until I had got her on the level. And it took me to have to put a fucking spell on the whole world and all of this shit going on right now today for me to get it the way that I really wanted it, where everybody can be seeing there and they know it. Like right now, all my youngest sitting at the crib being taught. You feel me? They know it. They like, man, that shit's some bullshit at school. That shit like jail. They ain't never been there. How you know it's like jail? Because what you told us, and that shit is just like that. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like,
Hell,
and when I put them visions in their head and brought that shit to life, they was able to share that light with these kids, bro. We was able to change the paradigm on the world, God. I swear to God, I ain't lying. I've been working on this shit for a minute, bro. It took a minute for this shit to happen. Like this shit was 20 years in the making type shit, bro. You hear me, bro? For the
hell
time,
yeah, that's the.
for the time
Go
90,
ahead.
99, straight like that, bro. Straight like that. 99, I went through this whole episode type shit like we going through right now. Right when we was talking about the New World Order then, they was calling it Armageddon and all of that shit, bro. I was doing the spells and shit then, bro. They was like, man, why you talk like that? You feel me? Like
Hey, that's
then nigga, it wasn't even no internet. So
And
we
that's
like
the same thing. Like,
that we ain't have
you know,
we like when folks say that we ain't have this conscious community and shit like that. Yeah, we did. we did. We
oh
did.
nigga, we had the Wu-Tang Clan, we had
Right.
Dead Prez, we had
Right.
that
Gyro
hip hop. Cause
they rooted damage.
yeah, cause like look,
Yeah, we
they
had
them niggas, bro, them niggas was speaking shit like, and I could understand like they used to all these different words and shit, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, damn, I know about that shit. Like Killer Priest, one of the big ones for me, right? Talking about the you know what I'm saying? I still fuck with Killer Priest like to this day. That I still heavily fuck with. That nigga to me is one of the most enlightened rappers that ever existed. Was that?
He got a platform on YouTube.
Yeah. I'll be on that shit sometimes and shit.
Yeah,
But like that nigga was like the motherfucker that I started really opening my eyes and shit. And then after the Flat Earth shit, for me in 2017, bro, I immediately started going back into the Wu-Tang shit. And when I got in the OTO and shit, you know what I'm saying? I started listening to what they were talking about. Like, hold up. I even asked my Mason, bro, like, hey man, was fucking the Riz like is he a Mason? Because I understand the secrets to this mystery school knowledge and shit now. And I'm listening to this, I memorized all these songs, all the Gravedigger shit, and this nigga is talking about that shit on the fucking Wu-Tang Triumph song. When he's like talking about the chakras and the fuck, his whole verse, bro, and the Jizza whole verse is talking about this ancient science and shit. And that's not realizing when I started getting to the 5% shit about 4 months ago that they was educating me back then.
Yep, they was educating us back then. They was giving us the God science, all the supreme mathematics, knowledge, all that shit. They was giving us. They was giving it. And if you could decipher the real shit, you knew what it was. This is how we knew we was the gods. You feel me? I knew they was talking about my life then. They was talking about me, like everybody, literally. Like I hate to say it, right? But then I'll be too cocky not to say it, right? But I would be wrong that I'd be lying if they wasn't, dog. You hear what I'm saying? Like literally, nigga, Mob Deep, nigga, motherfucking, nigga, them niggas was trying to be who we, all the stories they talk about, Rich and Pope. That was me and my nigga, man.
You remember? Did you hear Prodigy's last album, Hegelian Dialectic?
Yes, Prodigy, P.
Bro,
That's P, man. Huey P. Prodigy. You feel me?
for sure.
Like, swear to God, I ain't lying, nigga. Nas, nigga, all them niggas, that's you, nigga. That's you. That's Mental Ninja. You was the Mental Ninja. You was the shadow boxer. This is where shadow boxing come from. This shit right now, God, I swear to God, this is that shit, bro.
Hey, I had a thought like a couple years ago, maybe like 2-3 years ago, right? Is that the Wu-Tangs, I never met them niggas, and like one of my enlighteners, so the 5% shit right that I be doing, right? My enlightener is the nigga who educates you and gives you your lessons and shit, right? My enlightener, bro, back in like in 2001, 2002, I'm hanging with this nigga. He a white boy, right? And this nigga he a for real, he got Wu-Tang tat on. He's like, yeah, man, I'll be hanging with the motherfucker, because the nigga that taught him his side, that gave him the fucking supreme mathematics and raised him in the 5%. His enlightener was fucking one of the Black Knights of the North Star niggas, fucking Christ bearer and shit. The nigga that cut his own dick off smoking Sherman shit. And I used to be getting high with these niggas smoking Sherman with the niggas from the North Star. I didn't even know it. Right? And then like the nigga told me one day, like in 2003, I was going through all kind of shit with the chick I was with. We were all friends and shit. You know what I'm saying? He's like, hey man, when you ready, I'll teach you this 5% knowledge, man. I'll give you your lessons and shit. And we would always talk about that shit, you know what I'm saying? We would be drinking and hanging out and shit. And then like fucking in September, I realized I had that nigga number because I seen him like fucking like last year. I hit that nigga up. Hey nigga, hey Scientific. Hey, I think I'm ready for them lessons, man. What's up? That nigga said, what you doing tomorrow? Met with that nigga the next day. This nigga gave him the alphabet and shit. Had me memorize that shit. Then he gave me the motherfucking the 10 fucking supreme alphabet, the supreme mathematics. Had me memorize that shit and stuff. He'd be quizzing me and shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I started going back and listening to Wu-Tang again. And even another group. There's a group called Cannibal Ox. They from Harlem. Vast Air and Borgia Omega from the Def Jux group label, right? And then niggas like Cypher Unknown. And I never knew that shit is Ox, nigga, until I learned this shit.
Yep. That's all we be doing. That's what the cipher was about. You know what I'm saying? That's what the 40-0 was up. That's what the 4-0s were out. When they said, nigga, I'm coming to get my coach a cipher, God. You feel me with the 40. The 4-0. You feel me? So like, man, this shit is so it's right in our face, and we can know it. You feel what I'm saying? And you can do the same shit. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's all about how you live in your life through your supremeness. You are the supreme being, man. At the end of the day, that's what it all boils down to, man. Looking at yourself in that higher light, man. Ain't nobody higher than you. You the only one who living right. And when you know that supreme mathematics, your cycle gonna come complete when you start seeing what that zero is about. That's what that now cycle is about. You know what I mean? Folks ain't dealing with it for real. Like people will get away from the science just because they don't like science. You feel what I'm saying? But we always knew science. So this is why teachers and shit used to be mad at us in school because we did what we wanted to do. I knew I was going out. I was doing what I was doing because I was always ahead of time. You feel what I'm saying? It was like, nigga, I know the preacher, I know the principal will be walking around right here this and the time. I got some shit to do. I'm showing my craft, which is showing you was showing your ass. There's nothing else they can do. They can't stop you from showing your ass. They gonna be mad. But everywhere you go, you gonna keep on showing your ass. And they mad because they trying to cover it up. And they knew that you wasn't supposed to be down here walking around with the fire. You know what I'm saying? Because they knew that this shit was supposed to be burning up. And when you came down this bitch was gonna be lit up. That's why the world is so lit, because they know we down this bitch right now. Everybody
Hey,
lit.
another thing too is like scaring people from fucking continue on their path and shit. Because one thing about the path, like the hero's journey and shit or whatever, or even like in the secret side of mystery schools and shit, like the OTO and shit, right? Is when you embark on your path, that's like a for real solo journey and shit. And things gonna happen where people ain't gonna be understanding you because as your perception of the world changes and shit, right? Then your interaction with the world changes, and when the world and the world's people, like it says, be of the world, be in the world, not of the world and shit. Now on that Christian level shit, when you become in the world, then the of the world don't see you the same because now you're moving different. They
Yep.
expect you to be acting the same way, the familiar way and shit, the familiar spirited way and shit. Familiar spirits like the same mentality, bro, the same spiritual ideologies and shit. But when that shit starts changing, all of a sudden you talking about something else, you know what I'm saying? And you bring different conceptions that they're really not forbidden, but when you bring them up, people will talk to you and act like, why are you talking about that? Why are you
Yep.
thinking like that? That's forbidden to think that the earth is not a ball. You know what I'm saying? We're not saying it's forbidden, but like we've all agreed. Well, they've all agreed and they said we should agree, so we have. Why are you in disagreement now? You've been cool this whole time. And they're like, oh man, something's wrong with him. He's going crazy, whatever. And so the people that are your ace boon coons that have been down with you and shit, they gonna fucking listen to you. They gonna fuck with you and shit, talk shit like, nah, I think you tripping. But then they'll still give the time to listen to you and shit because they know you. They know you in your innermost, in your
Yep.
inner me, or their inner you and shit. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? And those people be the ones that be like, man, you know what? I like what you're talking about. And they don't have to change their perception, but they know you because they know who you are and shit. They accept that people have different beliefs and people can grow differently and shit. And the dope thing about it is it makes them trust you a little bit more. Fuck the faith. We talking about trust.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I don't have faith that there's gonna be air. I trust that there's gonna be air and shit. I trust that I still got lungs and shit.
They know for
That
one thing
faith,
you're gonna be solid on who you are, who you being to them. You're gonna be solid to that how they looking at you regardless. You're gonna be solid to them. Literally. They know it. They say that motherfucker solid. He don't give a fuck what nobody gonna do or what they say. He gonna goddamn do what he wanna do. And he gonna solid. And he might even bend for you because he gonna know that you want easy. And he gonna be able to feel your energy and do that. See, that's why I'm able to do the way I do. Because you gotta maneuver. This is what adapting is about. If you are the force and you know everything gotta adapt to you, you must adapt to it. Which is being adapting or being adopted. He was adopted into this motherfucker. I think somebody you was saying that one day on my joint. You was talking about how in the reborn they kidnap us and then they put us in a little room and shit. But we can be switched at birth. But we don't know it, and then we gonna end up being around the motherfuckers who they put us with so long that we're gonna end up growing and looking like them and talking and reflecting like them, period, because we're gonna grow to look like what we look like in our reflection. And that's gonna be the most reflection around you. So you take on them features, period. It's like my stepson, right? when all of us out, I got my oldest son, he my stepson. My wife had a son when she was when I met her. You feel what I'm saying? But I've been with her since he was 4. He was 3. You know what I'm saying? He turned 4 when I was with him. You know what I'm saying? But when we all out, they be like, damn, all y'all look alike. They always ask if he my son, but he been around me so long, he looked like his mama, and my kids look like his mama and me, so that make us all look alike. But when you see his daddy, you be like, well, yeah, that nigga don't look nothing like you no more. You feel what I'm saying? He don't look nothing like you. He look like his daddy, because that's who he really came from. But he do look like you because he got all my mannerisms. He look and think and act like his daddy's supposed to this, but now he acting the reflection of who his papa was the big daddy. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Stepdaddy was the
Hey,
Hey, mental. I gotta break out, bro. But I appreciate you having me up. And shout out to Huey P for the words he had, man. You dropped them
for sure,
bombs
for
with that
sure.
enemy and that ground shit. How the round is in ground.
yes, Lord,
But
enemy, man.
shout out to y'all.
And
I'm gonna hit
without
on
no
your
enemy, you don't have no enemy within you. You have no enemy without you. You feel what I'm saying?
facts.
Hey. Good. Hey, thanks for stopping by, K Smith. Hey, Huey, I'm
Hey,
about
this
to hop
super,
off too. You
bro.
about to go on? Oh, super. My bad, super.
No, you
Hey,
good.
Huey, you about to go live today?
Yeah, I'll probably go live in a minute. I'm gonna probably go jump on one of the other Aboriginal brothers. I'm gonna go over there and chat with him for a minute. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna go live in a minute. I'm gonna go sneak in the chat Sanchez.
Yeah, I already know.
Yeah.
I already know. Hey, look, yeah, when you go live and shit, I gotta go run the store and shit too. Let my phone charge. When you go live, nigga, drop that enemy shit, bro. Build that's gonna be a fire one tonight.
All right, for sure, bro. We'll definitely do that. Hey, bro, how do you think that we can do a damn I've been trying to think about bringing like who is it, Siri or Google or one of them motherfucking broads on. Like if we come up and let's question them motherfuckers and see what we can get out of them.
All you gotta do, I guess, you got a separate phone, or you got the Siri thing and shit.
Yeah, I got
It's
my
just like,
phone, I got iPhone, so I guess I can just have that motherfucker up here and just goddamn ask her questions. We just ask the bitch some questions and see what the fuck we can. Let's pick her mind and see what the fuck we can get out of these motherfuckers. What they got programmed in them.
hey, that's gonna be original, nigga. Every nigga's gonna be biting that shit. That's gonna be original as a motherfucker.
Hear me, Lord.
For
All right,
sure,
yeah,
for sure. Hey,
appreciate it, bro, man. Having a platform, man, where we can go somewhere else, bro. I wouldn't even go live in most of y'all live, so we can keep the energy going around and keep our energy going. Well, I'm in your house, you feel me? And my house is your house. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, bro. Much love to
no,
you.
it's all good, bro. I know your shit fire too, so like, so I can go do something. I can hop in and hop out and shit. I don't like going live too long and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I'm definitely when you go, I'm gonna pop up. Definitely.
All right, for sure, my G.
All right, peace.
Easy, God.
Peace, everybody in the chat too. Now I'm eating.